So this is going to be an example of when we need to take a table and join that table to itself. Kind of like we need that same table to be both the left table and the right table. This is going to be a part of the example number 10. So let's read that out first. List the trip IDs and trip names for each pair of trips that have the same start location. For example, one such pair would be trip ID 2 and trip ID 3 because the start location of both trips is Wethersfield. The first trip ID listed should be the majority sort key, and the second trip ID should be the minor sort key. So in this example, we can already see that we need the trip table twice. We need it for the start location of one trip and the start location for other trips. So that way we can find those that equal up. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's do the basic information that we need. And we know that this is going to be from the trip table. And we already know that we're going to need the trip table twice. So let's go ahead and use aliases because we'll need them. And let's talk about T1 for the trip 1, or the trip on the left side. And then we'll have trip 2 as well. But let's just make sure we have this already as we need it. By clicking run, making sure we have it. There we go. We can even say now T1 star trip T2 we should be able to run this and get back a query. It's going to be a product query, or an Cartesian product query, but that's okay. We just wanted to see if we're on the right path and make sure that it's giving us the items that we need. So let's go ahead and now talk about that join. So we need to use the where clause, and we're going to say join these two tables, the T1 and the T2 table, on that start location. Let's go ahead and run this. And there we can see that it is starting to link those up. There's Hart's location, there's Wethersfield and Wethersfield. The only problem we have here now is we can see that on the table on the left we have a trip ID of 1, as well as the table on the right, because of the same table, we still have a trip ID of 1. And we don't want to list the same trip that starts in the same location, because that just doesn't make sense. Obviously, the same trip is going to start in the same location. So the easiest way to get rid of that is let's add an AND clause. And we want to say that it's greater than . And by doing this, we're going to have the tables on the left be the lower number and the tables on the right be the higher number. And we're also going to exclude linking to itself. Let's run that. And there we go. We can see that now we have table 2 linking to, trip ID 2 linking to trip ID 3. They both start in Wethersfield. So we're getting definitely closer. But we need, again, clean this up a little bit. So we already were told that we're going to do an order by, and the major sort is the trip ID of the first table, and then the minor sort is the trip ID of the second table. There, we've added that. Let's run that. Things are getting better. Now the only thing we really need to do is just clean up our select statements. We were asked for only a few things, so we need to make sure that we get the T1, the trip ID, and the trip name. And we're going to want that for the second table as well. And while in our query, it did mention the start location, it didn't ask for the start location, so we're not going to give the start location. It's not in our requirements. Let's go ahead and run that. And there we have it. We've got a great example of how we can connect one table to itself.